yeah. I'm sure like I think some of the other members like they're like doing like exams or something, so like they would appreciate advice
Of
as well.
course, it
Yeah.
If they
is.
don't
It
show
is
up, if they don't show up soon, we can definitely do them that.
final
Yeah, if
season.
they show
I
up, we
get
don't give them
it.
any advice.
There you go. There you go. That's the way to do it. Teammates who needs
5,
them.
4,
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
Okay. It's their open. That's your open. Let's see how you hit this. Okay. It's really hard to win with Anna, but okay.
Oh wait, no, we're the other
Oh
team.
no! I
Yeah,
am
we're
flipped.
red. We're red.
I thought I was like I flipped to blue because I'm looking at the sides, red on one side, blue on the other. It's messing with me. Yes, you're good. You're red. Thank you. Okay. Fine. Okay, so I see this, and I'm potentially okay with this, but there's a few things that immediately jump out at me. So one is, hey, your tracer's going to take an angle, and that makes sense, and I like that. Another thing that's going on, though, is it looks to me like you guys are going to have 4 people down the same angle. Is that what it looks to like you to you guys?
Yeah, I think we covered this last time in the macro discussion where
Okay.
we should be sending Funzo to the left over the.
Yes.
Over the,
Yes. You got it. So we're doing that. We find all sorts of poke pressure there. And now I have to decide if we're ready to go in or not. And, you know, I'm probably pretty ready to go in until we lost that ball there. So you sort of did what you needed to, and I probably don't want to even be going in this hard. I don't know why our ball is necessarily going back in here because we got the elimination. I probably want to do a like baby little cooldown reset, and then I want to just go in. But that's okay.
The objective is now active.
Sure, now we have to kite, and we're going to go down. So a little bit of a cooldown cycle to restore there would have been great. Again, we'd like our Hanzo on the left. Our Sigma and Zen are putting some pressure out. You know they can't TP on you, so you're potentially okay there. Applying pressure. Your Tracer is trying to get a respawn pick, and I'm potentially okay with that. I'm potentially okay with this. We're really going to struggle to soften this team up enough. I'd probably rather even like double up at this point and have my ball go over here and us like go harder to force that respawn a limb, but that's okay.
David, you could call out if you're doing a respawn camp, I guess.
I think I did call it out.
He did call it out. He said I'm spawn camping the McCree.
Okay. Okay.
No, that wasn't McCree. That was
Pretty sure I called this one out.
Right?
Yeah, we're spawn. McCree's getting spawn camped. I mean, it was
it
a
was Sigma.
yes.
Oh, Sigma made it.
Yeah. And there's no way for Cassidy to get back here. Like, there's no way for Cassidy to get back if you guys want to take him out. So, like, I'm actually not too worried about him. I could be in a situation where my core is threatening from here, my Bowler Tracer is threatening in this general direction, and as they show up, we're just going to destroy him every time, right? Mm-hmm. So, I don't need to really hard spawn camp him. I need to be aware of him, and I'm probably just going to crush him right here basically every time because he doesn't have a TP or anything. And I'd like to keep getting my value, exhausting this team. But that's okay. Great. Sure. And you guys just win, as you're supposed to. And when your Tracer is ready, you go. And you go. And Tracer, I don't actually want you on this anymore. I want you hitting this dive. Your team is making the conscious decision to go force this fight while they're up to, and you sort of need to recognize that that's what's going on. Like, distracting this target, if he was going to be a problem, would be great, but your team is kind of making the active decision to let him go. That said, maybe you forced flash, maybe you feel like, hey, I got to take him down now, and no, you haven't forced flash. And I totally get the desire to do so, but your team wants this angular hit, and your team is actually rotating in, and your core is going to go in, and we're choosing to take the fight where Pharmacy can't help us. Like, if you were a brawl comp, or where McCree can't help you. If you were a brawl comp, and you were playing against a let's say, bunker comp, you'd be perfectly happy to fight one aspect of the bunker where the pharmacy couldn't help them, or where the Sigma couldn't help them, or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have to go send your diva to contest that off angle because you're choosing to take the fight where it can't be helped. And that's sort of what's going on here, and we want to wrap this up quickly as a result, because we know we're up 2. But that's okay.
That makes sense.
Ultimately, I suspect, oh, he gets the Mega, so you don't get him quickly. You do still win, that's good. Team does win as well. It works out. Okay, and now we need to get... Yikes. Yikes! Okay, unfortunate, but not a big deal. Please get your Zen off point. Please get your Zen off point. Oh boy, you can't anymore. Okay, so... this happened. This sucks. We lost our Tracer, and let me watch what our Zen did once we capped point.
Yeah, I should have immediately gone out.
Right. Your Zen basically needed to immediately get here, is what needed to happen. And this is a little bit slow, a little bit wandering. Like, you didn't even have to be the one that capped the point, truth be told.
Yeah.
You're sort of wandering over there, wandering over there. And now you can't go forward anymore. Now you just have to go to back of point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm just used to playing Brawl and, like, batter.
Yep, I totally get it. But on this point, the Brawl is, Brawl wins against you guys either by getting on you or by turtling point, and you can't have both of those things in the same place. It makes their decision making too easy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Shield in front there first.
Well, you can shield it first, but honestly, there's a fair amount you can do. Like, I don't need to keep floating up. I can go back down behind this wall, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he just wanted to go up.
Yeah, like there's no reason for me to go up. Like, no, I'll just go swimming down here, swimming through the sky. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're literally saying, there's this to hide behind. No, I want to keep going up. Please don't, but that's okay.
Pass into the
Brawl.
iris.
Brawl.
Oh, they were antied in Brawl.
What's that?
Wait.
Like.
Oh yeah,
those
you're
were
right.
antied, and
You're right.
I saved myself there. But
No,
they were
you're.
also antied.
Yeah, you are correct. Sure. Your ball's trying to contest. You have no health on your Zen. That's over. Yeah, so you're just going to delay this out. And we should be talking about a respawn delay tactics. No, we're not going to talk about respawn delay tactics. We had a bit of resource there left to delay, and I'm probably willing to spend Tracer's life to add to the delay. Tracer does not feed very much health. We just used recall, but we probably had a blink or two to play with after the ball. That said, we weren't going to be able to chain anything after it, so not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you see them here, so surely you're figuring out how you're going to get a second angle. Ball's sort of thinking about it. Good. Okay. We like this.
I am under attack.
Okay.
I am under attack.
Yeah, those are some Discord opportunities that were not hidden.
I need healing.
Okay, where's my Discord? Discord? Discord.
Took a while.
What's that?
I said it took a while.
It did. It did. So this really matters because this comp is playing with pretty low sustain and it's accepting playing with low sustain because it puts out a ton of pressure itself. But it really does need that Discord orb out there just as this damage amplifier for the team. It helps suppress someone on the other team so that they stop putting value into the fight. And it gives your team, like, your Tracer, your ball will see those Discord orbs, and they will be magnetized to them. They will just start putting damage into them, and they will almost accidentally start getting some eliminations. So definitely want to make sure that's going out more.
I got you.
Sure.
Rally to me.
Okay, you can rally here.
Огонь по готовности.
I'm under attack.
Okay.
Fixing you up. I'm getting good at this.
What's that?
I said I'm surprised I didn't die there.
My peel was too good.
True.
The peel is pretty good there. You're not hearing me complain. Okay, and I'm going to see us immediately get people set up, right? Good. Exor, what are you doing? Exor.
I'm with the
Hanzo?
Hanzo.
You are with your Hanzo. You are with your Hanzo. I feel like your Brig needs you a little more than your Hanzo. What about you?
I mean my Zen.
Zen.
Yeah,
Your Zen,
I think
sorry.
my Zen need me a little more than my
Yes,
Hanzo.
yes.
I don't have wall climb and dash.
That's true.
That's true.
Be nice though.
It would, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's go here. We're looking for staggers, and there's nothing here stagger-wise, so I'm okay controlling this side, but I want to actually control left if that's what I'm doing. It's a weird place for me to be standing. Like, the Mega was fine, that was the thing that made sense, but then I wanted to sort of close this angle a bit more and use the angle as protection while being hard to push into, right? Like, I didn't just want to fight here. Alternatively, I could be playing a little bit more around here for pressure and be like, no, it's okay. I've got my Hanzo over here, and I'll want to walk into the back of them when they try to rotate that way, or into the back of them when they try to rotate this way or this way. That would potentially be fine, but there's not really a situation where I'm like staying here for any amount of time. Staying right here. Look, okay, yes, there's a Mega. I don't really care about that Mega that much. Yes, you're trying to get the Mega out of play so that the other Tracer doesn't get it, but like as soon as that's happened, let's close the angle because I know my Sigma, my Zen are pressuring from over there, and this is more annoying to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's actually stay on you for a little bit more here.
Where were we? Give me a timeout.
No. So what's my issue here?
The Ana's gonna heal him back up.
Right, this isn't an elimination. I know this isn't an elimination. You're now going in to hit this, and you're thinking, hey, maybe it'll get the Ana too, and I can understand it. It would be great if it gets the Ana too. But I just sort of look at this one and go, you sort of had to reach into the enemy's space to do this pulse bomb, and can your team really follow up on this? Like, can your team take advantage of the fact that this Ana now has to pay full attention to their Reinhardt for the next 3 seconds?
Not really.
Right. So it would sort of be maximum team fight cancelage if you got this pulse right now and got the Ana, but I really would prefer to hit this when it's in a place where them having to dodge the pulse bomb that ends up on the floor or the Ana having to heal up the Reinhardt is actually expensive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you're getting peppered from the right, and guess whose job that is to go deal with?
Mine.
You got it! You got it!
I'm out of here.
Okay, so now where do I want you to be, Tracer?
Probably going on their Ana.
Like,
Going on the Ana over here?
Yeah.
Sure, that would be fine with me. I don't know that I'd actually go in hard on their Ana because I don't think there's any chance that you guys are hitting a dive back here. But if you want to pester their Ana from back here, that's fine with me. If you had your pulse bomb and tried from here, that would potentially be okay with me. But I don't actually want you going in right now. I want you putting pressure on them and just sort of wearing this team down here until they feel like, wait, we can't stabilize here. Let's push. And then they're pushing while they're not stabilized, and that's just going to be a good time for you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And so the general principle that I want you to understand here is you know that your core is about where you are, and you know that Hanzo is to your left. So you should be going, wait, if one DPS is to the left, if my ball isn't to the right, I want to think about being to the right. And even if your ball is to the right, that doesn't mean you can't be to the right. But if both of your DPS are stacked, unless your ball is holding the other angle, your core is sort of vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you two should sort of be the most vocal in talking to each other or checking on each other on who has what lane.
You two as in me and my ball or me and my Hanzo?
You and your Hanzo. Your ball can freelance a little between the 2 lanes. It's okay if your ball is with you. It's okay if he's with Hanzo. It's okay if you're with your Hanzo or your Sombra and your ball's in a different lane. But you two, I'd say the two DPS should be the most aware of whether you're on the same sight line, because that'll transition in other comps as well. Let's say you guys were playing a poke comp, for example. Would you want your Ashe and your Hanzo standing next to each other, even if your Orisa is on a different sight line?
No.
Right. So it sort of becomes a general good principle that you want to practice. And it's also why we care the least about what DPS pairings are. We spend a lot of effort talking about tank pairings and support pairings, but whoever talks about what DPS pairing is optimal?
Hmm.
Not very much. And it's because you guys should be pretty split most of the time. And yes, there's still DPS synergies. Tracer Sombra is a good DPS pairing, but again, you should mostly be occupying different lanes, which is fine. Huh. That's a funny place for my Zen to be. Why is my Zen over here?
I don't know. I'm thinking, should I be more to the left using that wall as cover?
You could use the wall over here as cover. You could use the door frame as cover. You could use the statue as cover. It's okay with me if you were rotating in thinking that this was going to be your kill box and you were going to go in, and then maybe, oh, the fight changed and you changed your mind and now you're going back to cover. But I'm not convinced that that's what's going on. This is not a spot. This is not... Are we walking into this? Are we walking into this because we were using rally? No. No.
Guess not. I felt pretty secure with my armor though.
Okay, but I don't want to just give your armor away for nothing. Like, oh, we want this? Okay, you could play here even if you wanted. Even this would be better than I'm just sort of wandering. Like, you have a Sigma barrier, but Sigma doesn't really want to have to leave his barrier up for other people. He wants to really just deploy that to quickly block something and keep going. He will leave it up to allow an Ashe to take shots, a soldier to take shots, maybe to protect a Zen or a team, but he doesn't really want to, and you're sort of forcing him to. And what are you getting by being there in the open as opposed to being here?
Not too much. Like
Okay.
nothing, basically.
Okay. Okay. Sure, we're breaking up the engage there. What?
Yo, it's cracked.
RNG. Totally planned.
Totally fine. You try to bash out? Why would I whip shot here?
Because I saw that he was pitting, I think, my ball or something,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just create distance between the Ryan and I. Basically, that was my thinking.
You're purple. You have 39 health. Activating Inspire will not get you more health. Is your ball
Yeah.
going to go down to that pin?
No.
I don't want you whip shotting here. Like, it's cool that we hit it and got the elimination on the Lucio, but my guess is that was probably meant for the Reinhardt. Yeah?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So you just wrenched your shield down and gave this Lucio a chance to eliminate you. When you were actually out, your shield was up and the Lucio was going to have a tough time getting you, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of annoying because that would be you traveling to the grave with 3 repair packs. And I sure bet your ball would have liked 2 of those repair packs after you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Cool. Sure. Rotating left, I hope. Okay, this is fine.
See through the
Well timed.
dragon's eyes.
Okay, so this is happening. We want to keep an eye out over here. We really didn't need to
See
double back
through
to
the
check here in the
dragon's
first place
eyes.
because we see enough information from the Sonic arrow that we really don't need to go look over here. I'd prefer to keep looking left because I know that that's where the team is. And there should be a call going on right now of are we pushing this team or not pushing this team? What are we doing to this team right now? Because if we're pushing this team, I want my Hanzo walking in to go soften them up more. If we're continuing to soften them up, I don't necessarily want to walk my Hanzo in because I'd rather my Hanzo's able to soften them up here, and it's kind of too late to be going here. So I'd need a call.
This call, like, usually, is this call from, like, the ball saying, like, I'm gonna go in? Because as, like, a main support, I feel
Mhm.
like even though I should be doing a lot of calls, like, I can't determine whether perfect, like whether the ball and the tracer are able to do a dive if I say, let's dive on these guys in
No,
like 5
so
seconds.
the ball and the tracer are going to go in, and ideally your ball is probably calling whether he's going in or not, but you're the one who makes it real. It's a soft dive
Okay.
if you don't go in. It's a hard dive if you do go in. And obviously, if they get a pick, it's probably a hard dive, and you need to upgrade their soft dive to a hard dive. But it's really helpful if you call whether you're going in or not, like, push, 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 because that'll help tell people, do they need to do the extra hustle to get into the fight, or was this a soft dive and it's okay if they're rotating during it? Does that sort of make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
Gee.
And the same principle would apply to, say, double bubble, where, okay, your double bubble comp is going to be like your monkey is going to be going in, maybe with your tracer, maybe just by themselves with Zarya help, whatever, maybe with their echo. But then when they go in for real, you need to go in with them. And there's a little bit of give and take between your Winston and your Brig, effectively, in those comps. Really? We're going to... Like... We have a Sonic Arrow, and our solution to a Sombra going invisible is Storm Arrow. Okay. I know my Hanzo's not here right now, but I'm just gonna okay, there we go. Don't be scared. Yeah, that's fine.
Wait for it.
I mean, sure, that was the Discord. We like following the Discord. We didn't do any damage to the Lucio, so we didn't get to see that he's low health. Okay, unfortunate.
Gotcha.
Sure. Sure. We answer that, and we're just following the target selection now. No problem.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Ready for
I'll
battle.
watch the first fight from the sky, and then I'll get into a little more micro for you guys still.
Is this the one where?
Ready for battle.
Yes.
Knight Rider. Okay.
Yes.
Is Knight
Oh,
Rider
yeah.
gonna have some fun here? Is that what I'm hearing?
Knight Rider's gonna have some
He's gonna
fun.
have a lot of fun.
You don't need the pile drive there. Okay, whatever. Okay.
50%
Half an ult charge right off the bat. Let's have some fun here. Oh, because he
He
used
was
his
scared,
tether
he was
there.
scared.
No, it's fine. He used his tether early, and because he used his tether early, that's why he then used his pile drive here. It's I didn't realize that he'd used his.
Is there a faster way to tether there?
Well, just tether gets you across here, but what he's doing is he's shaving literally a half second off of his tether cooldown, off of having to wait for tether.
That's why he has his tether here. For
Right,
the knockoff.
so that he has this. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It's his
That's
rollout.
cool.
It's his rollouts, and it's specifically, well, okay. Maybe he didn't need it. Maybe he could have spent the half second, but it's basically what he's doing so that if someone had been here immediately, if these guys had been faster, he could have immediately hit his tether. He pile drives here, and then he can hit his tether right here to knock them off immediately. That's what he was going for. It's a good rollout.
Double kill.
It's really weird the other team TP'd there. I feel like. Is that common?
For a brawl, it's not terribly uncommon. Like,
Don't
if
they
you
just TP through window?
Yeah, I mean, the window is definitely the more common situation, and he was more ready. I would have expected him to go
Yeah,
here
he was looking at the window.
and go like that. Yeah, that's what he would have expected. Like, it's weird for them to have TP'd here rather than window. Yes. Sometimes TPs are a little bit weird right out of spawn because you can't really pre-target them terribly well. It's weird for her not to have targeted that well when she was basically running the whole time, but what are you going to do? Okay, so Knight Rider has some fun.
Perfect synchronization.
Sure. Okay. We're going to cap the point, maybe. Break the TP, cap the point, get control. Okay. What am I going to complain about?
Everyone points stacked on top of
Options.
each other.
Angles.
I am going to complain about angles. And it looks like Henry's playing mid, which is fine with me. And Knight Rider and Core are probably going to play left, which is life. So who is going to play right?
Probably Tracer.
You got it. And Tracer is not going to win. If they walk through our right, Tracer is not going to win. But Tracer's just going to be annoying and surrender space while Henry shoots them in the side, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
The objective is now active.
Oh no. Oh no. Better. And this is not a retreat path for you, Tracer. Our retreat path is this way because we want to continue to threaten them. If we retreat this way, we now don't have a good way back in on this team. We'd have to go over here and blink across and spend resources, as opposed to just having left in this way, where now when they're trying to push up through this, and they essentially went this way to have less angles where we could shoot them, they're now going to be in a situation where they're walking forward into the spam of our Sigma, Hanzo, Zen, and we like that, but we'd like to pressure them from over here, and where else would we like to be able to pressure them from?
Behind them.
Right, their spawn lane. So who's going to take their spawn lane? We had a ball that started over here, and ball hasn't yet followed them, and he should be. You see how that works?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
So there's the same last time you mentioned when ball leaves an engage, that's the direction he'll probably re-engage from. Does the same principle apply to Tracer?
To a lesser degree, but yes. Yes, you
Okay.
can effectively you can keep your staging. Ball, it costs less to keep going and sort of stay behind in some ways. Tracer obviously has a little bit more limited movement with blink. Tracer can be
Mhm.
very fast, but obviously ball, ball has literally just a no cooldown ability to transform in a roll that sort of helps them there. So yeah.
Yeah. So given a choice between going through them and coming backwards, I would usually go through them.
Depending
Or
on
like
their
go past
comp a
them.
little bit. So like you can't live behind a comp that has their own Sombra Tracer, can you?
Probably not.
This comp just has a Sombra, so it really depends how safe you feel, but if you can stage in a place, like over here, can your Brig or
Mhm.
Zen help you if you retreat over to here?
Sort of.
Are there
Yeah.
health packs if you retreat this way that you can use that aren't yet
Yeah.
hacked by Sombra? So like you have
Mhm.
enough sustain over here that I'm pretty okay with it.
Okay. Against a comp like, say, Kree Hanzo, would I...
Oh, you just live behind them. You live
Okay.
behind them and laugh at them. I mean, you don't have to live behind them. You can live at 90 degrees to them, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. And again,
Okay, so
Henry,
it's mostly just flankers that I should be worried about.
right, people who are as fast as you is basically, you
Okay.
got it. So Henry obviously is over here. He's trying to do his poke. This is fine. Ultimately, I'm going to want my Hanzo Sigma pressuring down here, my ball over here, my Tracer over here. And I'd want to be putting the pressure on these guys now, because if I pressure their backline with ball and Tracer, even gently from two different directions here, these guys are probably going to keep walking while these guys fight, and these guys are probably going to get deleted by our backline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's all. We're just making them think about more things at once. We're overwhelming them. Instead, we're kind of taking a pretty one-directional fight. Tracer or ball hits a little bit of a crossfight there. Tracer's kind of missing right now.
Is it okay to be positioned as Zen?
Is it okay to be positioned here as Zen? Yeah.
No, where I am right now.
Oh, let's take a look here.
I don't even know where you are. Oh.
Yeah, this is
I'm
fine.
like at a house.
Dojo's fine. Rollouts that take you into Dojo are pretty fine. Be a little careful about rollouts that take you into Dojo against 6-man, but that's okay. This is basically
Oh my god, another
where
one.
you want to be. Oh yeah, he's hit some nice ones. Let's
Activating.
take a look. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Activating shield. Clear.
Mm-hmm.
Setting.
Sure. Okay. We kind of just brute forced that though, didn't we? There was a little bit of a cross hit from our ball from over here, but if we look at this engage in a hole, we kind of just fought an Orisa comp head on and won, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we really expect to do that? Fight an Orisa, Brig, May comp head on and win?
No.
Okay. Not a big deal. Let's get.
Assistance would be appreciated. Rolling out.
That was a foolish translocator.
Yeah. This one
I
pretty
don't think the Sombra was like a Sombra main or anything. Maybe it was. Who knows?
Oh no, she definitely wasn't. She would like their entire comp was like basically like out of their comfort zone because they're basically brawl one tricks if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they had to counter our ball. So
Got it. Got it. And they needed Brig, Sombra, and May for that. Okay.
I guess so.
Okay. I'm not sure I agree. I'm also kind of like, how do they expect to win any poke fights? Like, you guys are just gonna kite them forever. But okay.
This is a big comp.
Yeah. So what do I hate right now?
our positioning.
You got it. Mm-hmm.
There's poking.
Man. I don't know that I want to poke with Sombra May. Like that. That seems pretty rough. Okay.
Wait, did
So-
our Sigma all canceled? I don't.
I want to dive this. I don't know why we haven't dove this yet. Does Sigma ult? Let's take a look here.
Yeah, we had a signal.
Yeah, I don't know if it got canceled. It looked like
I
it
think
did.
it got rocked. Or
I think it got
I
rocked.
don't know.
Oh, he got rocked. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think so.
So that happens. Yep, not a big deal. But even without this flux, I probably wanted to be diving during this flux. Like if we look at this, hey, we're in this situation where your Sigma, guess what? This is go time. Our Sigma is fluxing. We have some element over here. I can't tell you which one because they just seem to be missing for some reason. But we've got something over here. Maybe it's a tracer. Over here. We've got a Hanzo over here. Maybe we've got a ball over here. Maybe our, like, I want to dive these guys. I want that to happen very much right now, and I'm perfectly fine with my Zen Hanzo sliding up here, or my ball Hanzo both going this way. And you see what I'm saying here? We're like, this should be a dive that we're pretty comfortable calling as a dive. And Exor, you would be yelling, push, 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 commit, something along those lines, because this is, if we're using Flux, it should be a
Hanzo's
real
here.
commit. What's that?
Yeah.
Our Hanzo's here.
Oh, Hanzo's here. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, and now we have a Hanzo. So yeah, I want you guys actually pushing during this flux because again, you're already up one. Like you're already up one. These guys are definitely weak enough for you to dive and win at this point. That said, I'd want you to dive with ankles. Right idea? Okay, it hurts. It hurts, guys. So, like, they were able to mess up our flux. And, maybe that's on our Sigma, maybe that's on our Sigma. But, they had to use Halt and Rock on our flux. So we should have been getting a lot done to them while they were messing up our flux, right?
Yeah.
And now our ball just went in and minefielded them in a pretty good place to minefield them. Went in to fight them indoors in a powerful brawl spot and used a powerful brawl ult in minefield. And where's the team?
Far away.
Yes, you're still just poking them. And once you have established good angles on bunkers, this isn't totally a bunker. They have a May in there, they have a Brig in there. But even so, once you've established good angles on bunkers, it's generally time to dive them. Like, it's time to dive them. You might need to soften up a brawl comp that has its lamps, that has its May walls, that has its wraith forms, things like that. But if you establish 3 good angles on a sort of weird Orisa comp like this, you can usually at that point just kind of dive it and win once you've set up your angles. If you're adding ults to the equation, this should be screaming go when fluxes, when minefields, when rallies go off, like it should, when dragons go off. Our ults should be, hey, if we didn't already realize it, we need to be walking on this team type situations.
That makes sense.
And that's just not happening. Because our ball is leaving with like 60 health right now, and unfortunately, does survive, but like this team, it's easy to deal with a minefield if it's the only thing you have to deal with. It's very hard to deal with a minefield if you're also fighting. And they don't have to also fight.
God, just walked into that.
Yep.
I guess it was Trace.
Okay. Fine with me. This is good. We have Sigma on one angle. We have Hanzo Zen on another. I like it. You guys know that I'm going to want Tracer or ball controlling right, but okay. Okay. Huh. Our angles kind of suck now, don't they?
Yeah.
And literally just holding that right side there took away a lot of their ability to make our angles suck, didn't it? Okay.
Overtime.
Apagando las luces.
Find your angle. Find your angle with cover, preferably. Sure. Okay.
Team kill.
So, do you guys have another code, or do you want me to go into significantly more detail here? I can go either way.
What do you guys think? We still have like Havana defense that we haven't showed. Like we showed you Havana attack,
Victory.
but our
Sure.
Havana defense is also, like I think
Just
even
do
worse than
Havana
our attack.
defense.
You guys want to do Havana?
Okay.
We could also do Havana attack.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah. I think it's the same code as the one I sent you, the FT8 one from from Sunday.
Maybe. Let's take a look.
Traveling to Havana. Ready for battle.
Nope.
Nope. That's fine. That's I had to guess if it was still in my recently viewed list, and that is, I believe, the only Havana in my. Oh, there's another Havana.
Traveling to Havana. Ready for battle.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. You guys want which direction?
Ready.
Let's start with defense since we already viewed attack.
No problem.
Oh wait,
Round one.
did we start on?
Complete.
No.
No,
We
we're
started
good.
on attack. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Fine.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Where's my Sigma? This isn't where I want my Sigma. Are you just late?
1.
Over there.
Attackers incoming.
Okay. So I'm good with my ball being over here. I'm good with this. That turns this area here into a pretty effective elimination box. But where do I need people if this area here is our elimination box? I can have some people back here, up here. That makes sense. But I need a hit from over here, right? At least some degree of over here. Who could do a good job of maybe early contesting this, shooting if a Tracer or a Samba comes through, and then, I don't know, kite back to here pretty well, and then sort of go, hey, I can play a corner, spam it, protect myself, spam it, protect myself. Obviously, the answer is Sigma. So I'm hoping I'm going to see that. That is not what I'm seeing. That is not
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think we
seeing
did
at
ask
all.
him to push up, but he didn't.
Okay. And I'm also going to be like, this is a pretty shallow angle difference between my Hanzo and my core, isn't it? I have a 4-person core, which is already almost intolerable, but maybe I'll accept it because we have a Cassidy. And then my angle difference between these two groups is pretty minor. So I really would still like to bring my Hanzo a little bit more like over here, this sort of thing. I know it's scary, it's a long sight line, but like I can't tolerate this. These aren't meaningfully different. We're effectively 5 and 1. Okay. So our ball is just fighting Sombras. And now our ball is in. Sure. And our ball is doing stuff, yeah. This doesn't feel terribly committal. I feel like our ball's kind of stuck. What about you guys? Do you feel like our ball's safe, or do you feel like our ball is kind of stuck in this fight?
Yeah.
If our ball is kind of stuck, we need to relieve pressure for our ball. How do we relieve pressure for our ball?
Push up.
Yeah. I don't really want to brawl with these guys, so maybe we make angles deeper instead. Maybe we have, again, our Hanzo slip further left, our Sigma slip in here. But if we're not doing that, we're going to have to walk at them a little bit because we need them to feel that like we're more of a threat so that they'll relieve a little pressure off of our ball here. And we're not helpless in a brawl. We have ourselves a Casti, a Brig. We'll be okay, maybe. Oh, here's a pile drive happening. I'd kind of like to be walking on them during this. What's that?
So question. So I feel like maybe one of the reasons Hanzo isn't pushing across, right,
Mhm.
would be that he feels like there's a bad sightline for healing in that case.
Sure.
So would it be better to place one of the healers with their Hanzo on top, so that you have like one healer on top, with Hanzo, or would that be?
The truth is, I would like both of you up there with Hanzo. That's the real truth. The real truth is I'd have been perfectly happy to have a situation where my BAP and my BAP and Brig are up here, my ball is over here, and my Sigma is over here, maybe with Casti with him. I'd have been pretty happy with that situation. That's the real answer to that question. The secondary answer to that question, if we insist on holding these angles, is, hey, my Brig is going to hold this to make sure a flanker doesn't come through it, and she can see the Hanzo from here. Make sense?
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Uh-huh. And that was a pretty hard pile drive into 6 people when they knew he was there. That probably needed to be a tether past this team, and preferably a tether past this team that caused our ball to go live back here. Little scary with Sombra on the board, but doable, because I don't think we were really ready. Do we want to fight this team yet? Like, okay, how do I put this? Here we are. I'm not really okay with this pile drive because this gets hacked in a higher level game. The tether is much safer to get out there. But the other thing that I run into is this is a pile drive. Either this ball is going to pile drive and then get out, which is not going to happen with this Sombra on the board, or this ball is going to pile drive and that is your commit signal. Do you guys feel ready to commit? Does this team feel weak enough to you?
No.
So I don't want this pile drive. That's kind of got to be the answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the less decisive thing, the thing when people are trying to come out and hard counter your ball with their Sombras, with their Mays, with their Casties, is you do less pile drives and you do more just roll throughs. And not roll throughs where you hit 4 to 6 people, but roll throughs where you hit 1 to 2 people on the edge of the clump, if that makes sense. You knock away, you slow down their clump, you mess up the rotations, you knock one person away, 2 people away from the Reinhardt that maybe your Hanzo or Casti then connect with. Sure. Okay. So surely someone is peeling to the right now. They recognize the problem that you guys have, and Karko, you recognize that this problem is happening, and you're working your way to the right under the cafe there, yeah?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Sure, so you guys are all sort of getting squished right now. Henry's got a little bit of an off angle.
Yeah, looks like we're trying to play this complex brawl.
It really does. It really looks like you're trying to play this pokey version of the comp with Brawl when, it's scary. It's absolutely scary if your Casti goes to the left by himself and could get dove by a Genji Sombra. Like, I agree that's scary, but you guys can all see your Casti if he gets dove by a Genji Sombra, right? Like, your BAP can turn and heal or shoot. Your Hanzo can shoot across and see him. Like, it's not actually... Are you really much safer by being stacked on your team against this team?
No.
It's pretty mild. You're a little bit safer because like Brig and Cassidy both have limited ranges on their stuns if they're stunning to protect someone else. But mostly, Cassidy can peel by shooting at things, and Brig can peel by throwing repair packs. So like, yeah, we'd kind of like to be a bit more separated against some of these guys, but because that way we can shoot around the Rhine shield. Go ahead.
If I do go to the left,
Mhm.
am I just going for a 1-for-1 trade, or because like once I use my flash, I'm basically dead, right?
Oh
'Cause
no,
they can just.
you're setting up like over here. You're literally just angling
Oh, okay,
over
okay, I
here
see.
or over here where you can do some work. I'm not asking you to go, let me sneak. Aha, flash, eliminate, get eliminated. Like if you did that, that would be flash, eliminate someone, and then how much more can I go for? Can I get the Sombra and then go, hey, let me take out Anna, let me chunk Zarya, whatever? And at that point, yes, you would be going, I got one, I'm not getting out. Can I get a second? Can I get a third? But like, no, what I'm actually looking for right now is you to just slow down this fight and make it harder for them to push. If you're over here or over here, it's a lot harder for their Reinhardt to walk on your Brig, to walk on your Bat, because you just start shooting him in the side, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Whereas right now, this Reinhardt shield works pretty well against everyone on your team that's not named Hanzo, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no.
Apagando las luces. Helden sterben nicht.
You notice how this fight is going better after they've used EMP and Valk, and you guys like aren't. It's going better than it was before, even with them having EMP and Valk, and you guys can see why that is, right?
It's because their Ryan is gone.
Well, why is their Rhine gone?
Because we took off angles. Kind of.
Yes.
Because the Ryan kited away, I think.
Well, let's take a look here. So here we are. We're doing this. We have our ball coming in from one direction now. We have our core still shooting from mid. We have our ball knocks the Reinhardt in, and the ball then is behind the Reinhardt, and oh look, we're able to deal with the Reinhardt, and who ends up dealing with the Reinhardt there? The Sigma, and where is our Sigma standing? Let me get our Sigma here. Our Sigma standing over here. So like Sigma over here, ball behind them, Casty and Bap over here. That Ryan wasn't in good shape, was it? Now our ball can't stay there forever, but that kind of worked, right?
Yeah.
And this is while we've been EMP'd and with the other team Valking, and we're now pulling ahead a bit, which we still are probably going to lose this fight because I expect them to get a little more work done while this EMP and Valk are going. Well, actually, no, now you won't be in trouble anymore. But that's sort of what we're looking at. If you see how overwhelmed this Reinhardt got, and he couldn't really even swing, could he? Sure. Well, that's a problem. Okay, so that's unfortunate. I basically consider it an inevitability that this res was going to try to happen. Like, it's not an inevitability. It depends on how much people respect aim at this point. But Exor, you just used Bash to move, so what do I need you to do?
Save whip shot.
You got it, because we can try to cancel that res.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Pretty sure we just whip-shotted Ryan out of the, oh well.
It's high noon.
Okay. Sure.
وريهم قوتك.
Okay, now you're just stalling it out. That's fine.
Would you like the
Okay. So this is still very doable. Obviously, we didn't get as many fights as we should have on first because we didn't really set up that first fight very well at all. But that's okay. We're going to now set up this fight, and we're going to have some nice angles, and we're going to pressure cook this Brawl team, then dive. Oh no, you guys are now not going to dive. You've said, forget it. We are not a poke Brawl hybrid, excuse me, a poke dive hybrid. We are now purely a poke comp. Okay. Fine with me. So this is happening, and we've sent our Brig and our Hanzo off for an off angle. Fine with me.
Positioning for the 2 tanks and double shield here.
What's that?
In like in a pokey comp with Sigma or Orisa, could you give some tips on like positioning for those 2 characters?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They don't want to stand on top of each other. So what's going to happen there is you're going to have a forward bunker and a rear bunker, and usually you'll start with Sigma in your forward bunker, but you guys are going to play some amount of leapfrog. Basically, what you're looking to do is you're forming 2 bunkers. Each bunker should have at least 2 people in them, and you want those bunkers to be able to have a sight line on each other. So if your Orisa bunker gets dove, your Sigma bunker should be able to shoot at your Orisa bunker. If your Sigma bunker gets dove, your Orisa bunker should be able to shoot at your Sigma bunker because that is how they peel for each other. They should also be split far enough that if any sort of brawl comp tries to advance on one of them, they are going to get shot in the side, in the back by the other, and if any sort of dive comp tries to form a staging, like form a triangle of sorts, a 3 or 4 directional dive around either portion of the bunker, that they're going to have to stage people in places where they have to get shot because they're in sort of that kill box between the 2 bunkers. Does that make sense?
Do they need to be within Sigma firing range of each other, or
Not 100%, no. Obviously, it can be somewhat nice if they are, but no, not 100%. You can't always anchor quite that. You need to set your Sigma up, however, in such a way where Sigma can, in the poke phase, pressure the enemy team. You can't set Sigma up in Narnia.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so we're trying to rotate. This is happening. We're able to get that.
The payload is approaching its destination.
And you should now win this. It was a little dicey, but you should now win this. Okay, and now that you've had a chance to stabilize on a poke comp, when they're playing a brawl comp, they should basically never move this card again on this point. So I really want to see my Sigma get control of right, my Orisa get control of left, and I'm potentially going to want to be able to adjust this and scout this. So if they push main, you guys are reasonably well set up right now. I don't have anyone with Sigma, and that bothers me because I need at least 2 people per bunker. But if they push main, you guys are pretty well set up where any sort of push from here or from here is going to get shot in both sides and really just get overwhelmed on its way to the cart, and you'll be able to take it out pretty easily. But what if they push their core out here and try to rotate up here? What can your Sigma group do if that happens?
We'll walk.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Walk bridge. So your Sigma group is going to kite up and your Orisa group is going to kite back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
But
don't do that.
you've got to scout that this is going to happen. How could you scout that this is going to happen? Who could see that?
Brig.
Brig
I think I'm the one to
could
scout it.
stand right here with her shield up, protecting her shield, and see around the corner. She could. It's true. Okay. That's fine.
I think that's literally what I do.
We do not need someone standing on the cart in order for the cart to roll backwards. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh yeah, our Sigma's.
Okay, so this is happening. Our Sigma's in a fight that they don't really like. Fortunately, they do have adequate poke coming in from the other direction. Cool. I would want to push that as Sigma. I would be screaming at my Sigma to push right now. Okay. Where's my support line? Back here? Sure. Am I getting a ton by being back here as BAP?
Yep, with the Orisa.
Yes, you should be up with the Orisa. Because, like, angular difference is good. If you were, like, chilling up here as BAP, I'd have no problem. But, like, vertical distance behind our Orisa is helping us maybe if, like, our Reinhardt gets to us, and is maybe helping us if we're doing a map control thing against a dive comp, but isn't really helping us against, like, their poke, and they're nowhere close to getting their brawl on top of us, right? So I want to be able to shoot at the other team and actually be contributing to the, to the poke that puts the other team behind.
Where would you say Hanzo should have been there before the fight? With the Sigma or on top of the...
I mean, with how the fight was going, I'd have just lunged over to this and climbed up and played from here, to be perfectly honest. You know, like, oh, my Sigma's in a fight? Great, I'll hop up and go do this. I would long term, yes, like my Hanzo over here. Who's my other DPS? Yeah, long term, I'm fine with my Hanzo over here with my Sigma. My Hanzo has a little bit more mobility, a little bit more ability to get out. Doesn't have the flash that Cassidy does, but I'm perfectly happy to go, you know what, we'll try and survive with mobility over here. Can reposition, can take angles more, and do sharper stuff. So I'm perfectly fine with him being over here and these guys being my 4. That's going to work for me. But yes, ideally, what I'd have said is Hanzo would be over with Sigma before the fight started. Okay, so what's my objection?
We should be letting them walk in and kiting them.
You don't have to let them walk in and kite them. There is another option. You can fight them out here if you want, but if you fight them out here, I need your second bunker to be relevant, right?
Yeah.
Is your second bunker currently relevant?
But he's moving in, so where should he be? Down there?
He's right. No, he's right where he is, but if you read that they're rotating this way a little earlier, you can have start to pull your Sigma this way, and then once you get if you got your Sigma to here, and these guys were still grouping here, you could potentially go, okay, Sigma and maybe Cassidy drop and push this way, or Sigma and Hanzo push this way, as our core pushes. I'm not really willing to take this fight right now, because by the time they're here, I can't really... My Hanzo's not here, are they? My Sigma's not here, are they? If I was walking a Sigma and a Hanzo in behind these guys, or even back here to fight their backline, no problem. But we're not there, and if we drop, this is a committal, and we're pushing with these guys as well, right?
Yeah.
But your safer approach, or we didn't catch them early approach, is yes, you drag your Sigma up a little and you kite backwards a little with your core here and go, hey, we still have cover. You still have to walk across this. We're okay. You sure you want to walk across this when we can threaten yoinking you out off with a Holt, that sort of thing.
Oh, I remember this.
You EMP?
Yeah. You get EMP'd and die. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you just get 6-man EMP'd?
Yes.
As a bunker comp? Should that ever happen?
No.
I guess it's because the bunker didn't back up fast enough.
Yep. Yeah, we can get you pretty much. We're late getting out there. That's not great. Okay. And that was always going to be hard to deal with because you guys have basically nothing. But if you had a situation where they EMP you and then you lift their Brawling Core, suddenly their Brawling Core isn't on top of you and their Reinhardt isn't doing any damage, the rest of them are struggling to do damage, you potentially protected your team because they had to pick between fluxing the Sigma that had your only ult, or, EMPing the Sigma and Hanzo that had your only ults, or EMPing your greater core, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's hopeful. That's really hopeful, but you've already lost the fight at the point that we go for that flux. Knight Rider's just going to stall card a little. What? Okay, if you guys are playing this to win the map, that's correct to drop that supercharger, but I don't really know a team in scrims that plays to win the map.
This was a tournament. This
was a tournament match last round.
Oh, got it. Sorry, not a scrim. You are correct then to have used that flux and that supercharger.
Yeah,
my apologies. My apologies. I should have noticed immediately from the lack of stats that we were in a tournament. Okay, so again, I look here, and you guys are playing this like it's 2019, where you're like all stacking together. You're like, yes, we should be together, and like, no, you guys. On second point, we're playing double shield that needs to split, and you have to have your two bunkers with line of sight of each other, but also in such a way that if you push one bunker, the other side walks in, that sort of thing. You shouldn't have both been caught by that EMP, that sort of thing. Not a big deal. You did at least sort of do this, but I want the Hanzo over here earlier with the Sigma. On first point, like, just stop hugging each other. You know, you're all smelly. None of you take showers often enough. Like, it's too much BO if you're all together, spread out, a little bit more separate groups. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's really what this takes. And you saw this. Once you split over here, this got a lot easier, and you were able to even win fights where they spent 2 ults and you spent 0 ults. Like, that's very much on the table because position advantage is generally greater than ult advantage, and position advantage is that big a deal. Their comp is not terribly good. They were very beatable, as I'm sure you realize and see having looked back and reviewed this here. When we go back to the previous map, we can see that you're not diving when you pull the trigger. Like, it's like, okay, we're using a flux and we're not diving. We're using mines and we're not diving. Like, wait, those aren't good things. When we do those things, we should be diving. We shouldn't use those things before we've set our angles up, and we should do a better job of rotating and keeping our angles. We talked about that with our tracer. We talked about that with our ball, of keeping our angles, make sure we leave in directions that we can maintain our re-entry angles, but that's going to make you more powerful. And then Exor, I want you to go ahead and call when you're going in so that it's like that extra reminder that this is a real dive, we're going hard. And big good signs that you're diving would be, oh, we're using rally, we're using flux, we're using minefield. We're probably trying to hard fight if we're using one of those things because those are effectively brawl ultimates, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, quick question about those trigger outs. Like, in the Lijiang map that we just looked at
Mhm.
for alts like Sig alt and Minefield,
Yep.
is it on say the tanks to just recognize that maybe their team's not in position, or is it just like that, like if they see the opportunities they should do it and expect that their team is just there?
No, it's on your tanks to recognize that you're in position, but I'm going to yell at you guys if I'm your tank and I'm having to pass on a lot of opportunities because you guys aren't set yet. You follow what I'm saying? Like, you guys
Yeah.
can set your angles a lot faster than you are. You are not up against teams that are just taking fights anywhere on any map. If you were scrimming 4-5, 4-6, teams would just be like, okay, you might look at the game and go, okay, so one team fight happens here, and another team fight happens here, and maybe another team fight happens here. And, you know, you'll end up in scrims where it's like, why is a team fight happening right in here? And you know what? This happens in 4-5, 4-6 games because you know what? The enemy gate is down. But like, because of that, because that's not what happens, you can really preset your lanes the instant that you've won a fight. You can start going, hey, let's start setting up for the next team fight. We know where things are going to be. And I'm not going to say that's worth more than staggers because staggers are more, but that is worth more than sort of your forward poke phase if you haven't gotten a stagger in the last 5 or 6 seconds, going and setting up those lanes. And same thing after Lost fights, you know on the way back from spawn which ways you have to go when you're establishing those lanes, right? Like, you don't need to rotate together on your ball Zen comp. Your core might rotate together, but like your ball, your tracer, even to a lesser degree, your Sigma, your Sombra, your Hanzo, they kind of know pretty quickly which lanes they're going to take and can just kind of be pathing there from the get-go, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can set a lot faster, but yes, it is ultimately on the tanks to recognize, no, my team actually can't go if I go hard right now. And that is why playing main tank is hard, because playing main tank has a lot to do with engagement timing, and yes, you have to track where your entire team is and what angles threaten and everything. Such is life.
Yeah.
Okay. Electroshock, gotta be faster on those discords. Like, I don't care if you tape your thumb to the discord button and are just holding it down. Obviously, that won't actually
think-
work, but like, gotta be faster on those discords. What's that?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm still like, I'm not actually a Zen main or anything, so
Sure.
I feel like in my mind, I still think that like Discord has a cooldown, so I want to find a good target to put it on instead of just use it when I see it. You know
Put
what
it
I
on
mean?
the first thing you can and then move
Yeah.
it. They made that a
Yeah.
little bit worse by slowing down the travel speed of Discord, but that's still a perfectly acceptable way to play them for you. Get it out and then worry about getting it to the better target. And same deal with your Harmony Orb. You're on the way back from spawn, put your Harmony Orb on the first person you see, and then worry about moving it to a better target.
Yep.
Okay. Exor, your Brig exists. They should be alive. They need you more than your Hanzo. Um,
Zen, you mean?
Oh, my Zen, my Zen.
Your Zen is
Yeah.
alive. Yes, yes. Did I just say your Brig? Wow, again?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Exor, you are Brig. Your Zen needs you more than your Hanzo. There we go. There we go.
Yes, I'll make sure to stick with him.
Okay. Henry, obviously, when you're set up in this, when you're on this double shield in this bunker, you're going to generally be either independent or you're going to be with your Sigma. I'm not going to want you really anywhere near the bunker. You should have a duty to do that. And really, both of you DPS should be recognizing that when you guys are split, you want to, or when you're there, you generally don't want to be in the same angle. And that's mostly going to apply to both your Zen Ball comp and your bunker comp. It would even apply to Brawl unless you went to truly, truly hard rush Brawl type style. Yeah. Occasionally, as Sombra Tracer, you're going to end up together while your ball is somewhere else. Occasionally, you're going to do a lane overload type technique in either in any comp. Occasionally, you'll do effectively a rush. You might, as a poke comp, go, hey, we're going to overload one lane to take it from another poke comp and then spread out. But those are the exception, not the rule there. Same thing with you might overload in a dive v dive to try to go, hey, we're going to try and catch their tracer with a hack and then punish them with Sombra Tracer ball, things like that. But you open up vulnerabilities by doing so. So generally, you should assume that you need to get away from the other DPS and you should look at each other and go, who's the more mobile DPS? Well, Hanzo's the more mobile DPS. Soldier's the more mobile DPS. Tracer's the more mobile DPS. They have the greater duty to get away from the other one. But you guys are on a team. You can talk to each other and be talking about as you win the fight, okay, I've got right lane, I've got left lane, that sort of thing. For our tanks, I really would talk about our ults mostly. Yeah, I'd mostly talk about our ult usage for our tanks there in terms of, hey, you really do have to make sure that your team is there, your team is ready, and that they can go in when you use their ults. I'd also scream that you're ulting so that we don't overuse ults, but also to remind your team to go and to cause them to react that much faster. It does make a difference. And that's probably what I'd get into. Do you guys have questions, comments, general questions, specifics? I'm flexible.
I guess a quick question in terms like not in terms of this VOD specifically, but in terms of like teams and like scrim theory.
Hmm.
Like what kind of team should we looking to scrim against?
You guys are scrimming.
2 points.
I
Yeah.
usually give them around 2.8 to 3.0.
Yeah. So whoever you can get is the honest answer, because the reality is the scrim scene isn't big enough right now for anyone to be super, super picky over who they're scrimming. I would scrim who you can get and, scrim at a place where you can win 40 to 60% of your scrims, I'd say, is, that's what you're looking for. But you don't need to hard win every scrim. You don't need to have every opponent be better than you. Trust me, I've worked with teams that are like, no, it's not a real scrim unless it's someone who, we recognize as good, etc. And then they go on to lose 80% of their scrims, and you're just like, this isn't like, guys, you want them to be a little bit better than you type thing. So if you're asking me like how high or low should you scrim in a place where you're winning about 40 to 60% of the time is about what you want to do. And then you're going to look at this and what am I trying to say? If you're asking me like, should you find a type of team or a team comp that, they're heavily running double shield and you need to practice your Zen ball into them, that sort of thing, that can absolutely be useful if you can organize that sort of thing, if you can expect that sort of thing, and you know that you're weak against it. But it really depends how organized you guys are at scrimming and how much you want to work on it. Like, it can be useful to go, hey, I know that we don't have another tournament for 6 weeks. I know that our Zen ball is a little weak into bunkers. Let me go ahead and go schedule scrims with this team that I know runs bunkers so that we can get good good repetitive practice of Zen Ball into bunker. That's absolutely something you could do, but that's just a hypothetical. I'm not saying that's what you
Okay.
guys need to do.
Yep. And to quickly follow up on that, like it's
Shoot.
perfectly fine to scrim the same team over and over again, or would you say like there's more value in diversity?
So it depends. It's okay to scrim the same team over and over again, but I wouldn't exclusively scrim the same couple teams. I would say if you guys scrim like twice a week, you can probably have a situation where you scrim one of those two blocks, the same team every week, because you know that they're a pretty good scrim for you and you want to make sure that you're getting a pretty good scrim like once a week. But I don't want you to adapt to each other too hard. So if you have a second scrim block, I would like that to rotate opponents more and not just like rotate
Mm.
3 opponents. I'd kind of like to always be looking for, it's okay to go against, the same opponent a couple times in that scrim block, but I wouldn't want to be like, yes, I go against you on weeks on, the third week of the month, you on the first week of the month, you on the, you see what I'm saying, where you're not just like
Yeah.
rotating 4 teams, you're sort of like, hey, I'm going to sort of each week look for a scrim here and I'll take what's there. And if you're doing scrimming 3 times a week, you can have that third one be some compromise of those two. But I
Gotcha.
generally would want some diversity in your scrim partners so that you don't get messed up. But I also do like having a relatively stable scrim block per week that you never know, but you expect is going to be a scrim that'll go, it can go 1-5, 5-1. I don't care, but they're relatively close, and it's not going to be something where either or both teams feel like they wasted their time. Because in that slot that you're rotating people, sometimes you're going to feel like you wasted your time because teams are terribly over or under advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Don't think so. Judging, but